have a question that appears on the screen, and then there's a web app on the phone where the question appears, you type your answer in, and it immediately appears on the big screen. So everyone was sitting there watching the answers go live. We first wanted to introduce the Mentimeter system to the audience and figure out who was in the audience. And part of what we set out to achieve with the event was to get new people in hemp and get new people to come along and figure out what they could do with hemp, how to commercialize hemp food, fiber, and medicine. So this first slide tells us that, of the 250, 280 people who were attending either in person or online, that at least 130 of those were coming to their first event, whereas only 36 out of that 163 that responded here were in hemp full-time. So we then looked at where people have come from, and again, here the majority, or at least the people from the farming backgrounds, of 71 here out of the 177 that responded, come from a farming background, and then a lot in R&D, so product development, being 53 being the next closest, and then moving into food products as well. So medicinal products, which is, I guess, the glory boy of the industry. Everyone's kind of got the focus on the medicinal side. I think it's a minority of the audience who actually focus on the medicinal. Number 3, so what are the audience's main areas of interest? So the 180 that responded, growing hemp was the number 1. So looking at half of the people involved, just looking at how do we grow hemp for food, fiber, and medicine. But of that, the food was definitely the number 1 priority. So showing that with the legislation changing toward the end of this year, where a broader range of hemp food products are going to be allowed, that a lot of people are really looking at, okay, so what food products can we launch, and how do we grow the hemp to get the seed to make those products. Next one, we looked at 2 words, and looking again, talking to the audience and saying, what does hemp actually mean to you? And of the 172 responses, health and opportunity are the two things that really stood out. And then we've got a combination of factors that look at sustainability, so the potential impact of hemp on the environment as a sustainable product, but also improving the land. And then if you drill down and look at further into that map, you can start seeing the kind of the huge range of things that people are interested in, but all very very similar around it, being good for the environment and good for health. And that just whole buzz around a new opportunity from a new product. So next one we're looking at is how big is the opportunity. So we asked the audience to look at both food, looking at food, fiber, and medicine to figure out the gut feel of the audience of where the opportunities lie. And hemp food came out on top, and then medicine was number 3. So I mean, this ties in also with just where legislation is at within New Zealand. So, and food's going to be out there as the next good opportunity. Fiber's been around and available for a long time, but it takes longer to get that out to get the product development done and get products out into market. So with I think once legislation changes to allow medicine, I think the value is going to be there in the medicine, but it's going to be hard to get products out. So next one we're going to look at is market constraints. So again, the audience asked for 2 words around the constraints that they see. So perception is number 1, so the perception of cannabis due to the many years of anti-hemp, I guess you call it propaganda. So now we're looking at, well, how do we change that around so people realise the value that hemp has, rather than just having this very narrow focus on the THC is bad. And I think we can even change the perception of THC that actually it's not bad. But so now it's, well, for the benefit of the food and fiber products, we just need to completely change the perception of hemp from being a bad product to a wonderful product. And so that's number 1 thing we've got to look at. And regulation is the number 2 thing here. That plays a huge role in that. And then within that, the government can play a huge role in removing these barriers and removing the perception barrier and removing the regulatory barriers. And you'd see from this cloud a lot of those of the other points that are made all tie into those main 3. Following on, we have a question where we're looking at where do we actually need support, where does the industry need support, and education again, it's getting rid of that perception, that negative perception of a crop, to turning it into something positive. And through that comes from, again, back to the role for government to play here in partnership with industry. And then just looking at the infrastructure, so there's, across this map, there's quite a lot of different parts of the supply chain, and getting those so that all the different parts of the supply chain work effectively, so that we can then move from having seed planted in the ground all the way through to kind of end products being sold internationally from New Zealand. So we organised a survey after the summit, so pretty close after, to find out what people thought, and find out where we can improve. Clearly, as running the first summit, we had some good ideas going in, but we didn't know whether we were going to hit it off and have a success or what. So we really needed to find out where we could improve. So we found from the survey feedback that we got good speakers and content. The venue could be better, and like part of some of the comments we got back on there are just actually the wastefulness of some of the the lots of food and the plastic knives and forks, all those sorts of things. We say, well, actually, we're trying to promote a sustainable industry. We weren't acting in a sustainable way, and that's something we'll look at improving next time. Networking was good, and overall good response. So we're pleased with that, but also we've got some comments back where we can make huge improvements and make the next one even better. So next one, the feedback was looking at just 2 words on the day. What do people think? And again, it was a very similar flavour to the views we're picking up during the event. So very informative, which was great. I mean, this first event was all about giving as much information as possible across the whole wide range of the opportunities within hemp. So we covered a huge amount of ground, and lots of information for people to take in. So I imagine it's quite overwhelming if you just sat through the whole lot. But it was good that people found it informative, and that they found opportunities, particularly through the just conversations that people were having at the event. Inspiring too, so that's good. Stimulating, getting people involved in just setting up businesses or moving their businesses to doing things with hemp, which is exactly what we wanted to achieve. We have some questions. So, would you attend another hemp summit? Well, majority were saying yes. Did the summit answer your questions? Mostly. And we've got some of those questions back that we can then address the next time. And really importantly, did you enjoy yourself? So the vast majority was yes. That's awesome. It was a fun event. And value for money. It was actually an expensive event to put on, and we had to charge quite high fees, which was then excluding quite a lot of people who didn't have the cash to attend, and that's something we weren't trying to address. So next time, as we make it a bigger event, we can spread the costs out across a lot more people. So we really want to get it as an event that's available to everyone, and hopefully next time we can make even better use of technology to make all of the information from all the great speakers available to everyone.
It would be great if I could go to the website, click on something that I never saw, and watch it.
Yeah, and we're hoping to get there because we have got the videos from all of the speakers. So we've got those, and we're hoping to make those available. It's just getting the time to process that massive data and getting it up there.
It's because we're amazing, very, very good to get a realistic assessment of opportunities. Thanks for not making it pro-hemp propaganda.
So pro-hemp propaganda, but we could just be out there saying, yay, hemp is wonderful, but actually a lot of the presentations are saying growing hemp is really hard. Here's all the issues, and what we wanted to get out there was economically, it's hard to make money out of hemp unless you're making really good products. It's hard, not necessarily hard to grow, but there's things you need to be aware of. It can be hard to harvest because it's such a fibrous crop and it can destroy the harvesting equipment. So we wanted to do a reality check. Here are experts from overseas who really know their stuff around growing hemp. We wanted them to share their experience of where it's difficult. So we wanted to get that across so that everyone realised what they were getting themselves in for. So rather than just saying, hemp, it was actually, yes, hemp is great, but you've got to be aware of all of this, so you go in with your eyes wide open.
Have you got some examples of that? What's some things Canada? That people would take for granted that they shouldn't?
The guys from, I can't remember his name, so, Jeff Postwick from Canada, and they spent many, many years growing hemp, and he was showing kind of various pictures of his harvesting equipment, and where it all got bunged up with hemp and the modifications that it had to make, so that they learned over the years how to stop this really fibrous stuff fouling of their equipment. And it's really simple things like that where you could just go into it unaware. It cost you a lot of money to constantly try and fix, so you can just run a harvest. So being aware of that going in is really good to know.
Yeah, it says the Canadian experience of breeding, agronomics, preparation, growing, harvesting, and the processes ex-harvest for grain/seed. I'm looking at the Hemp Summit Day 1 and 2 PDF now. What was your favourite standout bit?
One of the important parts was getting the government involved, so getting Damien O'Connor as Agriculture Minister, talking about how the government's positive about hemp and enabling hemp, and then with the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Primary Industries also coming along and talking about what they can and can't do to support the industry, and mostly on the positive side, and how they want to partner with industry to make this happen. It was great. It's good for everyone to see that, and good for them to come out and state their support, because it can be challenging sometimes working with government departments when it's not a priority, or when they don't have the people to be able to get involved. So I think for me, getting those guys to just say yes, hemp is part of New Zealand's future as a future industry, or part of New Zealand's agricultural industry, it was very positive.
Yeah, because nothing would throw a bucket of water on the whole idea like a negative government.
Yeah, exactly. We had, just towards the end of the second day, this is jumping into the second, I'm just looking through the highlights of the 2 days, but we had people who were just talking about the specifics of growing hemp and from all sorts of different angles, and that's great. We also then had, looking at investment, as in this is an industry that's going to require a whole heap of investment to go in. And so we had some good examples from Steve Saunders and Miliana Stevens, looking at here's some models that we can use to invest in hemp and do it in a way that makes the most of the skills and capabilities of New Zealand. Because part of this is saying, well, okay, so Canada's gone in here and it'll have huge land area, a majorly supported government, and they've been in it for a long time, so they can produce hemp fibre, hemp seeds, at a much, much lower cost than we can currently do, and probably at a lower cost than we'll be able to do for many years. So part of the question is, well, why New Zealand? Why do we need to do this? What advantages does New Zealand have? And so looking at the niches that we can find, what's going to make us different? And so the approach that Steve Saunders and Miliana Stevens, so Steve Saunders from Plus Group and Miliana Stevens from Wakatu, looking at their approach in other areas, which is to invest in science within New Zealand to identify those gaps, identify those spaces where if we invest in get all the brightest brains in the room to work on projects and figure out some new things and figure out where we can have advantage and push there, that's going to give us a sustainable product that comes from New Zealand rather than something that's going to be out-competed very quickly. So if we're just producing whole hemp seed, we can't compete on that. But if we can make really cool products that incorporate that, then we've got something. And so that's their focus, and I think their approach and their experiences and similar people like that is going to be really important for the industry as we go ahead. So, following on from this summit, we've got an more academic and more researcher-focused summit in the traditional way of an academic conference. But again, trying to get industry involved in saying, these are the things that we want to develop, these are the products we want to develop, we can see the future in these products. So it could be very high-tech hemp fiber products rather than very low-tech ones. Or
what's an example of some of those products?
So you can make composite fibers, so you can make very lightweight, very strong composite products on the fiber side. So you could do and people have done in the States, making your body panels for cars out of fiber rather than metal. Or you can make fiber wherever you can use fiber reinforcement, you can use hemp, and then you can make clothes. You can make and one of the really exciting areas is that you're doing plastic substitutes. So finding ways of using hemp fibers to reinforce other natural materials to make alternatives to oil-based plastics. Or a really basic example here, I've got a tabletop in front of me which is pretty much all plastic, plastic coated, and a plastic core with a plastic rim around the outside. That if when that eventually ends up in landfill, is going to take a long time to break down. So these are all things that can be substituted by natural plastic products. So it has the same properties of plastic, but it's made from natural materials that break down. So you can look at other areas and imagine if all of the children's toys, instead of being made out of plastic, could be made out of a hemp composite material that's made out of natural materials. It wouldn't be hemp by itself, but hemp and other things together to make a composite that can just replace those throwaway plastic products. So that's areas where.
How about straws? Could you substitute them for plastic straws?
Yeah, potentially. Although paper ones are just as good, because if you're just using one use, why not use paper? But paper's another thing. I mean, you can make paper out of hemp and grow it faster than you can grow trees. And the economics there kind of works. So there are good examples. People have worked out the economic models of growing hemp rather than growing trees for paper. So that requires the whole industry to change its direction so that you can use hemp for fiber, hemp for paper. But you think anywhere when you've got a high stress part of a component for a machine or a component for, I was thinking maybe in areas like yachting where you use high strength titanium products. You use titanium to get rid of rust. Well, if you could make similar high strength products using hemp fiber reinforcement, and it's really good as a super strong fiber for reinforcing things, then you can potentially create an industry around alternatives to metals in those high stress areas. But again, that's an area where it's all potential and the research needs to be done.
It's actually pretty exciting, that topic, because I see carbon fiber being used for cars and boats and stuff, and I don't know exactly. I'm not a scientist or anything, but I understand that hemp can provide the same kind of rigidity and strength at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, it's an alternative. I mean, you think those applications where you're using like a carbon fiber reinforcement or other types of fiber reinforcement, hemp's an alternative for that. Absolutely. And you can grow it rather than manufacture it. And it breaks down. It's also conductive as well, so you can make it so that the hemp fibers conduct electricity, which is another cool area of research that's going on. To say, well, actually, one of the things that the research in Canada was looking at the use of hemp fiber or processed hemp fibers as batteries. So you just need to run through a particular process, and then they hold charge. So you can have naturally manufactured batteries.
Wow, Nigel, that really blows me away.
Yeah, it's cool, really cool research. Needs a lot of work, but it just shows the whole breadth of things that you can potentially do with the plant.
Yeah, do you think that the plant could save the world, Nigel?
I think it's going to take more than the plant. I think it's people who are going to save the world. But I think it's part of the solution. I think it's not so much that is it hemp or another thing that's going to do it. I think it's the mindset of people choosing to use hemp over something else. So the more people who look and say there is a better way of doing this, the better. So people start looking at hemp and say, well, I can use this to substitute something else and make it better. That's the attitude that's going to save the world. Hemp is one product. There's plenty of other things that we can be doing and improving to become aware of the impact that we have on our environment and so on. So I think hemp can be a poster child for better ways of doing things, and I think that changes people's mindsets. That's awesome. I think that's part of its role, is to change people's mindsets towards food that you think is an alternative to meat. And if you can get all of your amino acids and omegas from hemp seeds, plus some other seeds as well, rather than eating quite so much meat, that's going to have a major impact on the environment. If we reduce if the world reduces the amount of meat it eats, that's a huge impact on the environment. Fiber substitution for, instead of mining metals, we can have metal substitution through fiber. Great. And then on the medicinal side, is it just a different concept to how do you get healthy? Is the cannabinoids help build up your immune system rather than specifically, you help the body make itself well rather than specifically tackle something that's affecting you. It's just a different mindset on
a holistic approach.
Yeah. And so that's just part of that general mind shift of stripping resources into putting things back.
Yeah. Hey, it's been nice chatting with you.
Yeah, Marco, that's good.
Let me get your website. Was it Ligar dot something?
It's Ligar Polymers. So I think on the things that I've sent, there'll be a link.
Yeah. I think I did see one.
Yeah.